All right, you guys, it's been a while since we had a guest on the show, and I can tell you the Fumble Squad is super excited about this one. Some of you guys are a little too young to remember, but our next guest has 4 All-Star nods, and he won the 2004 NBA Finals with the Detroit Pistons. He's here to talk to us about EJI and some of his personal experiences pushing for social change. I am so honored. We are also honored to have Rasheed Wallace here with us on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, forgive my ear-to-ear smile. I really am excited that you're here. So how's the quarantine going for you?
Pretty good. No complaints. I'm taking advantage of the family time. My daughter, my son, and here and there, other family members pop in and out. So just taking advantage of it.
So before we dive into all this, I know you could have done a lot of things after you retired, but you also have a new platform now. You have a podcast, correct?
Yes, yes. I have a podcast called Let's Get Technical with my former teammate and buddy and little brother, Bonzi Wells. We've been doing it probably for about maybe the last month and a half, I would say. And it's turning out pretty good. I'm enjoying it and taking advantage of it during this whole COVID situation.
How did you guys decide a podcast was something you guys wanted to do?
Well, really, it wasn't me. It was Bonzi. Bonzi's been on my heels about a year or two, telling like, man, a text here and there, like, man, come on, man, let's get this podcast, let's do this, do that, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, man, I didn't want to do it, and this and that. I had my reasons, but then he was like, look, come on, man, let's do this. And it was during the COVID situation, so I was like, all right, come on, let's go, let's rock and roll with it, and boom, here it is. And 17 episodes later, we're doing pretty good.
I love it. You guys, I've talked to you about how I used to play basketball and you hold the single season record for technical fouls. So is that where you played on that title? Don't think I forgot.
Yeah, actually it was. Actually it
Yeah.
was. It was myself and Bonzi. Bonzi got some
Mm-hmm.
technicals too. So,
Yep.
we just played that pun on that. So it was kind of funny.
I love it. All right. So, you've been involved in the Flint, Michigan situation, and 6 years later, they still don't have a clean water system. How are you helping with that?
Well, myself and all my friends and family, we're gathering arms and we're just going up there on a muscle. We can't sit back and wait for the government or all the political people to cross the T's and dot the I's while people still need daily necessities. Just think about it. And I want you to think about this, and I want your listeners and viewers to think about this. For the last 6 or 7 years, right? Think about how much you use water with drinking,
Mm,
waking up every morning, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Could be just in the middle of the day. Oh, my face feels gritty. I want to wash my face. You got to wash the baby. Oh, the baby might have threw up. Now I got to wash the baby off, put the baby in the sink or the tub. They can't do that. The
mm,
everyday things that we do or I guess we don't think about, they can't do that. They have to live with bottled water. They have to live
right.
with jug water, gallon water and everything like that. So it's hard, and to try to raise a family and in that situation like that, it's unacceptable, especially here in America. This is supposed to
Mhm.
be the best state, or excuse me, the best country in the world, and you have a third world country systematically in Flint. So come on. And the thing about it, I want to let everybody know too, it's not just black people. You got black people,
Right.
white people, Chinese. They're all affected by the areas, the red lines or the red tape,
Mhm.
whichever one you want to call it. They're all affected in that area.
Do you think this is a good example of how people should not wait for the government to take action, that we have to take action on our own?
Oh, we definitely have to take action on our own, because if we don't, then the people that really need these things won't get it. Because
Mhm.
with the government, okay, well, we got to make sure we fill this out, fill that out, for this charitable organization and to get this funds and da 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 da. It's too much. By the time the people get the things, you've had people who perished or whatever. So look, I'm straight from the muscle. No, I'm not a charitable organization. So when I ask of my friends, family, and other people, like, look, it's not a matter of giving your money. No, give your money in a little bit of time.
Yeah, as Black people, I know we all have known somebody who's experienced something. Do you know anyone who's experienced any injustices as far as, personally, maybe having some legal issues that were strictly based on their color? Do you know anyone like that?
Oh, definitely. I know guys back home in Philadelphia who were set up by, dirty cops, who had to do a couple years in jail. Some guys fought it and actually won. So I know quite a few who had some injustices done to them as well.
Hmm. So most people will assume because you've had this great career, you played in the NBA, they'll assume that you haven't experienced racism because you're not like the rest of us. You make a little bit more money than the rest of us. You live a different lifestyle than the rest of us. What would you say to people who think like that?
Well, that's on them. They could think that all they want, but I've definitely experienced it. Just traveling the world, and you have people who aren't sensitive to certain racial issues, to just, hey, like water on this everyday thing. But being over in certain countries, yeah, I got called the N word and this
Mm-hmm.
and that because I wouldn't take a picture or I wouldn't sign an autograph. But to me, it was family time. At the time, I was with my family, or when I was married, I was with my wife. So I seen that as their time. Because I was gone playing for at least 8, 9 months out of the year with us always playing at least until late May and going into June. So I've dealt with a lot of racial issues. I dealt with some racial issues when I was at North Carolina when I was in college down there. So I mean, it's all on how you take it. You can do one or two things about it. Of course, we all know that the way that we can handle it and to end all is to be volatile. Start a fight
Mm-hmm.
or some other things like that. But it takes a little bit extra maturity to think it through and try to better yourself in a situation of negativity and ignorance.
Yeah, and we're definitely in the climate where more people are speaking out. I'm a diehard LeBron fan, and I think he's kind of led the
Hmm.
charge in being the one to say it's bigger than basketball and things of that nature. But sometimes I do get frustrated because I feel like people expect him to speak on everything and they expect him to put his dollar on everything to save everybody. Do you think that sometimes we, expect too much from you athletes and these entertainers to really kind of speak for us and kind of move the needle? Or do you think that since to whom much is given, much is required?
Um, Kind of, sort of both. Kind of, sort of both. I feel for LBJ. He can't just have a normal day to himself. What if that man want to go out and take a walk in the park with him and the kids? He can't do that. You got to have mass security with him. Everything of that nature, and that's sort of that what I call that Michael Jordan syndrome, where you're the all star of the all stars and
Mm-hmm.
and you can't have a normal life like that. But it's somewhat of a pecking order because you have some guys who play in the NBA and they're known, but they're not as famous as other guys. So with me, I always felt and still to this day feel like I'm an everyday person.
Mm-hmm.
I go wash my own dishes. I go to the grocery store. I take my own trash out and all of that stuff. So I feel like I'm a everyday person. With me playing in the NBA and the Most High blessing me with the things that I have, I don't put myself above no one else. So dealing with that with me personally, yes, there are a lot of people who look at me like, all right, look, you're the one that can help this change. You're the one
Mm-hmm.
that can become this voice or this positive being to push this certain situation. And depending on what it is, we all take our jab and things that everyone supports their own quote unquote charity. So if it's something that I feel as though that's up my alley, where hey, look, it calls for me to be out there and to have the just right of our brothers and sisters. Look, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna do my part. That's what I tell my kids. Look, do your part. You do your
Mm.
part, then things will go on.
Now you see we're pushing forward with sports. We're getting ready to go into this NBA bubble, even though everybody's saying we're about to see a second wave and we've seen some spikes all across the country. How do you think the NBA bubble is going to go?
Wow. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be exciting to see. I don't think it's going to be as locked down as most think. As we've seen already with a few of the WNBA players, the accommodations that they're staying in is horrendous, and you knew they were already coming. You knew they were coming
Mm-hmm.
months in advance, and yet you didn't want to fix your establishment up for these people. So, what is that saying to me? In my picture, in my eyes, it's telling me like, look, hey, don't worry about where you stay. Just go out there and play and make this money for us. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, that's not right because it could be some of these, WNBA and NBA players have their families down there. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them don't. So would you want your family staying in, a flea bag motel? No. And
Right.
here it is. You're a top $1 billion company. No.
Yeah. What do you think about the slogans and the phrases that the NBA has allowed the players to put on the back of their jerseys?
Um, on one hand, it's kind of cool because with a lot of the situations that's happened here with us in America over the last years, it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that I see it, I just don't want no one to take advantage of it. Advantage
Mm-hmm.
of our brothers and sisters who fall and take advantage of their names. So, like maybe let's say 5 years from now, I don't want to see on eBay a LeBron James Laker jersey
Mm-hmm.
that might have Floyd on the back going for six, seven, eight, $900, and then it's not going back to Eric Floyd family or
Mm-hmm.
it's not going back to Breonna Taylor's family. Yo, come together, make a fun. These jerseys are going to be a once in a lifetime thing. And if you're going to sell them, put all the proceeds back to this family, these mothers, sisters, brothers, fathers, wives, husbands. Put this towards that. Then to me, that would be a little bit better justification other than just slapping the names of those who fall on the back of a jersey and going out there and playing, saying, "Hey, we did our part." Yo, really do your part. Put that money towards from them jersey sales because you know they gonna sell now. You know they
Mm-hmm.
gonna sell. Put that money towards them families.
That's a good point. The NBA had decided to not let the players put the names on. They originally were going to let them do that, and then I think they decided that because maybe it's first of all, there's a lot of names, and second of all, it might be because of exactly what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying. But they still have phrases like equality, justice, education
Mm-hmm.
reform, and those are still going to sell. Do you think that even if those sell, that they should give those back to any type of organization or the families of some of these victims?
Definitely, for sure. Because other than that, why are you doing it? If
Mm-hmm.
now I'm pretty sure that there are some players who have the option like, look, I don't want to put this on the back of my jersey. Yes, there are
Mm-hmm.
players who are probably like that who want to see their regular name on a jersey, which is fine. Nothing being held against them. But for those who feel as though that they're doing their part and bringing this or help bringing this equality or help trying to bring this justice that you're putting on the back of these jerseys, hey, put it all in one fund. Send it to these families.
Yeah, I'm the skeptic of the Fumble Squad. I don't really fully believe this newfound empathy that we're seeing in our country because we've been singing the same
Mm-hmm.
song for decades and no one's been singing along before. Do you think that we are
Yep.
really moving into a new place as a country, or is this the perfect storm? It's just a pandemic. People are trapped at home. Do you think we're actually moving forward to change?
I pray that we are for the sake of not only you and I, but the sake of our children. I pray that we are because the youth, this is what type of examples are we setting on both ends? Um,
Right.
for the black movement, for even those who are racist. What type of thing are you setting for example are you setting for your kids here? Um,
Mhm.
Either way, the youth is the movement. So we have to make sure, like, look, get rid of all this racism, get rid of all this hate, get rid of all this evil, because one, you can flourish and succeed more of than you can hate.
Mhm.
What's
Right.
the saying? You can attract a fly with
Honey.
what, vinegar more than honey or something like that,
Honey more
something of
than
that
vinegar.
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's how I see it. So look, let's we gotta put this attention to our youth.
Um, So if the movement does die down, what do you think you and I and everyone else, what can we do to make sure it keeps moving forward and we keep moving towards change?
We have to, one, educate each other, two, educate our youth.
Mm,
Um, Stay positive. Cause if, just imagine, can you imagine what this would be like if we act like all of those out there would hate? If we
mm,
start shooting back, if we start killing, other minority youths back, then, this world will be an apocalypse. It'll be
right.
a modern day apocalypse. So I think for us to make this change, it's everybody. It's in your neighborhood. It's in your community where you live at. It's the youth. Show that positivity to the youth. They feed off. They're kids. They see what you do and they feed off of that. If you're doing
Mm,
something stupid and ignorant, then guess what they're going to do? Something stupid and ignorant. It's the same as, and I hate to use it as an example, but if a child sees his mother and father always fighting and arguing, and the little boy sees his daddy always beating on his mom, well, he think that's okay. He think that's what it's how it's supposed to be. Then
right.
no, that's where you got to change that. Break that cycle.
Hmm. I think that's why, things like the Equal Justice Initiative are so important. Even though I would love to say no one will ever be wrongly convicted again ever in life, I think we know that's not the reality. Why do
Right.
you think it's so important to get involved with nonprofit organizations like the Equal Justice Initiative?
Well, because the areas that need the help, they can't afford to hire these big companies and big organizations to try to make life better for them. We have to
Hmm.
have a lot of people who live in these communities. I think if you had, just imagine if we had some of these governors, some of these senators out here living in the same communities that are going through these struggles. I bet you it would be a lot different then, wouldn't it? So,
Hmm.
it's all on that perspective. Look, just because you're not in that area don't mean that you can't help. Don't mean that you can't help make that change. To be in the positive, to be in the guiding light.
Hmm. Now, we do have a slightly younger demographic on the Fumble. So, as they're seeing all these things unfold before them, if you could give them with one final thought, one piece of advice, what would you give them?
Strong. You guys are
Hmm.
strong. That this younger generation, this younger black generation, you guys are more hip to all of the social media. You guys are more hip to a whole lot of the different aspects that I would say like my generation um, wasn't. Things that
Hmm.
there's action being taken now. We're seeing all these injustices. Before you was just hearing about it. Now
Right.
with this youth, with this movement, with this action, not only are you seeing it, but it's action of change, and that's
Right.
a positive thing. And I just want to say, young brothers and sisters, keep it going, because old guys like me, old heads like me, are very proud of you, and we need you. We need you
Hmm.
because, now people of my generation, we're the ones that's in this power seat. So we have to
Hmm.
listen to our youth and keep it rolling, keep it smooth, make it peaceful. Let's all love one another, man. Live peacefully. Bet you we'll live longer.
Right. That part. I definitely
For
appreciate
real.
you so much. Thank you for those beautiful words. That is the beautiful way to end this interview. And I just want to thank you for all you're doing and the work you're continuing to do. Um, Once again, you guys in the chat, if you want to learn more about the Equal Justice Initiative, you can visit their website, eji.org. If you want to be a part of the movement, there's a donation link anywhere around you.
Yes.
You can also do a super chat. Make sure you do that. Thank you again, Rasheed Wallace, so much for joining us and helping to really motivate us to stay on the right track and pushing this needle for social change.
Oh, no problem at all. Always here to help.